crazy battle of semantics. I do not, I have to say, confess, understand the difference between a ceasefire, a pause, a cessation, a truce, qualified by sustainable, credible, whatever it is, humanitarian, one that lasts. The British people think our moral compass is spinning in this House, that we have no clue what we're doing anymore, and yet they see the bodies of shredded children coming across the media pretty much every day. They want three simple things. They want the killing to stop of Palestinians and Israelis. They want the hostages to be returned, and they want aid to flow into Gaza. And our job in this House, as backbenchers, is to vote for the outcome we want to see.
Well, for more on this, let's bring in Nigel Nelson, former political editor at the Sunday Mirror, who joins us live from Kent. Nigel, the Labour amendment passed without a vote. Can you take us through what happened and explain to our viewers what that means, please?
Yes, certainly. It is a bit complex, but I'll try and keep it simple. The Scottish Nationalists, who are the UK's third largest party, they tabled a motion for a ceasefire and accused Israel of the collective punishment of Palestinians, which is a war crime. That was too much for the main opposition Labour Party, and they tabled an amendment to that motion, which still called for a ceasefire, the release of hostages, and ultimately a two-state solution. Then it got a bit silly because the government tabled its own motion, which called for a pause in the fighting, which fell short of a ceasefire, but that would get humanitarian aid through. Normally, what happens in a situation like this is the government amendment is taken and the Labour one isn't. But the Speaker at the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, he decided all MPs should have a say. So he broke with convention and decided that both amendments would be debated along with the main motion that the Nationalists had put up. This infuriated the ruling Conservative Party, and they walked out. So did the Scottish Nationalists. And as a result of that, as you just said, no vote was taken.
We're a little short on time, Nigel. There are so many questions I would like to ask you, but I do think it's worth noting this general election that's expected in 10 to 11 months' time. We've seen huge pro-Palestine rallies in major cities across the country. How will this, what's happened today, affect the general election, in your opinion?
Well, it probably won't affect it at all because at the end of the day, there was no result. The problem, and you're right about the election year, is the Labour Party have been having problems with their own MPs. If their amendment hadn't been taken today, it meant that Labour MPs would have rebelled and voted for the nationalist motion. So part of this was to try and keep the Labour Party together. The Labour Party rely in many seats on Muslim votes. And of course, Gaza, as in the rest of the world, has become a really contentious issue in Great Britain.
Nigel, thank you very much for explaining a rather convoluted and complicated scene that we saw earlier in the House of Commons. Nigel Nelson there, a former political editor at Sunday Mirror.